Hi everyone, I'm Richard Santoro and welcome to Third and Zen, the YouTube channel where I am sharing some spiritual messages that I've delivered over the course of the last 20 years or so. Before we get started today, first I want to thank you for stopping by. I hope this video finds you doing well, and I also want to remind us all that this is the holiday season. This is Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, but the holidays are not easy for a lot of people. A lot of different reasons. The holidays can be really challenging, can bring up a lot of challenges and bring a lot of things to the surface. So a reminder, be kind to yourself, be kind, loving, empathetic, and understanding with others, knowing that while many of us do revel in the season and celebrate and feel fellowship and joy and love, other folks do find that a little bit challenging. So we're going to be the best versions of ourselves with ourselves and with others. And just in general, the season itself can be challenging. Set the holidays aside. It's getting colder out. It's getting darker out earlier. The days are shorter. The nights are longer. It's tough. So again, be kind to yourself, and we'll be kind to everybody around us, knowing we're all on a little bit of a challenging journey this season. So with that being said, again, I want to thank you for stopping by, and let's get started with today. So, pardon me. Everyone, take a nice deep breath. Take a moment. Just be still. Maybe take a few deep breaths. In through the nose, let go. Out through the mouth. Soften. Soften your body. Ease into this present moment. Maybe release any tension that you might be holding in your back, your posture, face, your brow, your jaw. Just breathe. Make your breathing your central focus, keeping us anchored in this present moment. And just soften. Ease into this present moment. Just breathe. Again, the holidays are busy. This time of year can be busy, so just breathe. Give yourself permission to settle. And just be here now. Pardon me. Get those out of the way. So a couple more deep breaths. And let's get started with today's message, shall we? Okay. Honest Abe, Broadway Joe, Alexander the Great. We love to give nicknames, don't we? We love to take a person's most marked characteristic and label them. Or we take a defining moment in that person's life and we forever immortalize them. Think of baseball's Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. Now, here's another one for you. Doubting Thomas. That name is pretty well known and rooted in our common, everyday vernacular, Christian or non-Christian. Even the dictionary has its own specific definition for what a doubting Thomas is. It says, a deep-rooted, firmly established skeptic. Wow. That's quite a legacy for one person to leave behind. But let me say, here and now, that I think that it's unfair that after 2,000 years, our image of Thomas is so firmly established as doubting Thomas. I think it's time to re-examine Thomas. Time to re-examine this man's place in Christian history. Who was Thomas? And what's his story? How did he come to be forever called Doubting Thomas? Well, not a great deal is known about Thomas. He's only mentioned 8 times in the Bible, and 4 of those times are just lists of disciples' names. There are 2 instances in the Gospel of John which really help illuminate who Thomas was. In chapter 11 of John's Gospel, we read that a man named Lazarus has fallen ill and died. Now, Lazarus was a much beloved friend and follower of Jesus. So Jesus tells the disciples that they must travel back to Judea to tend to Lazarus. But the disciples remind Jesus that the people of Judea hate him. And if he goes there, he could be killed. They're obviously scared for his life, and to be honest, theirs as well. But it is Thomas, in verse 16 of this story, who says to his fellow disciples, let us also go to die with him. Let us also go to die with him. Pretty devoted and courageous. Now later on, Thomas also displays a bit of courage in John's account of the Last Supper. In chapter 14, when Jesus says to his disciples, "Where I am going, you know the way," it is Thomas who is not too proud or humble to ask Jesus, "Master, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" It takes a person of strong character to admit their ignorance and say, "Hey, I don't know," and then ask for guidance. How many people would have done that? The others didn't. So far, what has our limited knowledge of Thomas told us? Let's just recap quickly. We know that he is one of Jesus' closest followers. We've seen examples that demonstrate his devotion, his courage, his honesty. Now, let's get to the heart of it. Doubting Thomas. How did this man's legacy get forever cemented as Doubting Thomas? Let's recount the story leading up to Thomas's moment of doubt from John's Gospel. Jesus was put to death on a Friday. Mary Magdalene finds his tomb empty that following Sunday morning, the first Easter. Outside of the tomb, Jesus appears to Mary, and then later she tells the disciples that she has seen the risen Christ. That Sunday night, Jesus appears to the disciples. Without being asked to do so, Jesus shows them his wounded hands and wounded side, and the disciples rejoice. But who was missing from that gathering? Thomas. He wasn't there. I had a professor that used to like to say that, why wasn't Thomas there? Because he was out looking for Jesus. I always like that little story. Don't know if it's true, but it's nice. So when the other disciples later tell Thomas that they have seen the risen Lord, Thomas says, unless I see the marks of the nails and put my hands into his side, I will not believe. Fast forward a week later. Jesus again appears to the disciples, and this time, Thomas is with them. Jesus goes right up to Thomas, shows him his wounds, instructs Thomas to touch them, and tells him to believe. Thomas immediately declares, "My Lord and my God," to which Jesus replies, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and have believed." Very powerful stuff. John paints quite a picture of that first Easter and quite an image of Thomas's moment of doubt. There's definitely a profound lesson to be learned in Jesus' response to Thomas. Blessed are those who have not seen and who have believed. The Apostle Paul later brilliantly echoed Jesus' words when he wrote, "Walk by faith, not by sight." But let's ask ourselves a question here. Is that enough to forever label this man Doubting Thomas? Has history been unkind in remembering Thomas? Let's take a closer look. Let's re-examine these events. Yes, Thomas did doubt the resurrection of Jesus. But honestly, who wouldn't have had some doubt? Remember, we have had the benefit of 2,000 years of knowing and believing that Jesus is the risen and resurrected Christ. Our global church, our spirituality, our lives, and even much of our society are based on knowing and believing this. It really is so well established for us. We've had a lifetime, generations. But what did Thomas have? A moment. That's it. Friday, his friend, his teacher, the man he came to believe was more than was dead. Thomas's system was traumatized, slammed, shocked. He was devastated. And now they're telling him that Jesus is alive? Is it that out of the ordinary for Thomas to say, I need to see this? That's how our brains and our processing systems work. And that's okay. Most of us would have had doubted had we been put in those circumstances. And you know what? Most of the people in those exact circumstances on that first Easter did doubt. Thomas was by no means the only one to express disbelief and doubt that Jesus, who died just 2 days ago, was now alive. All 4 of the Gospels tell of the disciples' reaction not being immediate belief. In John, Mary Magdalene thinks that Jesus' tomb is empty because his body had been taken, not because he had returned from the dead. Luke's Gospel says that Mary tells the disciples that when Mary tells the disciples about Jesus' resurrection, they think, and this is a direct quote, they think it's nonsense and did not believe, which is exactly what Mark's Gospel also says happened. And Matthew's Gospel says that when the 11 disciples, minus Judas, saw Jesus, they worshipped him, but they doubted. So no, Thomas was not the only one to doubt that Jesus had risen from death. Thomas's moment of disbelief was not an isolated incident in the Bible's 4 accounts of that first Easter Sunday. Thomas's doubt was understandable. It is part of human nature, and Jesus understood this very well. What is the greatest commandment? According to Jesus, it is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your body, and with all your soul. With all your mind. We are cerebral beings, and our mind is a part of our spiritual engine. And at times, doubt comes along with that package. And that is okay. Let me say that again. Doubt comes with part of the package, and that is okay. Let anyone who needs to hear that. It's what is done with that doubt that is important. And what did Thomas do with his doubt? Well, we've re-examined Thomas. We've taken a closer look at him. And what we know about him, Thomas was a humble, original disciple of Jesus. Thomas courageously said, "Let's go and die with him," when others were afraid. Thomas was honest enough to tell Jesus at his Last Supper, "We don't know where you're going," and devoted enough to say, "Please, show us the way." And Thomas also had a moment of doubt. So again, what did Thomas do with his doubt? Well, he expressed it openly and honestly and sincerely, and he faced it. And like John says, he immediately declared to Jesus, "My Lord and my God." Thomas's doubt moved from that to a next level of belief. Thomas is the only one in all of Scripture to directly refer to Jesus as my God. Thomas believed, so much so that after Jesus' ascension to heaven, tradition holds that Thomas then went to spread the gospel east. Most scholars and historians agree that Thomas's missionary work took him to what is now modern-day Iran, and as far east as the southeastern coast of India, where he was martyred for his work and his service in Jesus' name. To this day, there are areas of India that celebrate and claim to be descended from Thomas's original converts. And folks, let's make note here. Jerusalem to India is not a short, easy journey. We're talking 3,000 hard miles. That's like walking from New York to Los Angeles. Not easy. So yes, again, Thomas doubted, but Thomas also believed, and he followed, and Thomas worked hard for Jesus. That is a more appropriate, more accurate legacy, don't you think? So, why is it important to re-examine Thomas? I am so glad you asked. Why does it matter on today of all days and this season of all seasons to go in another direction on one of Jesus's apostles? Again, I'm really glad you asked. Thank you. This autumnal, fall, holiday season, it's a time of change. So I can think of no better day, no better time to re-examine a piece of our Christian history and fabric. This season is a time of change, a time of renewal. So we have taken this time to re-examine Thomas, and therefore it is also a perfect time to maybe re-examine ourselves. A time when we can hold up a mirror to our lives. A time where we can re-examine where we are and where we are headed. This season is a time when we can maybe renew our spirits, renew our faith, maybe renew our legacy before it is written, so to speak. When Jesus gloriously emerged from that tomb on that Sunday morning, Hebrews chapter 10 says, "A new and living way was opened for us." A new and living way he opened for us. A new direction. The resurrection was not just an act done for us. It was done for us to follow suit. A new and living way. If we can today gain a new perspective on Thomas, then perhaps we can re-examine so many things about ourselves, about our lives, about the world around us. So, another big question you might be asking, how? How do we re-examine our lives, our spirits, our direction, the world around us, and so many other things of value? Again, to cite Hebrews, we approach God with a sincere heart and an absolute trust, which I know isn't always easy, but we do our best. With a sincere heart and an absolute trust, or as best we can. Talk to God. Open the Bible. Pray. Meditate. Go for a walk. Simply be still or be open as best we can. And we all have something, don't we? Every one of us. We all have something in our lives, maybe something weighing on our hearts, something worthy of being re-examined. Our lives are all moving in a certain direction. Is it the right direction for us? Does it feel right? Now is the time to re-examine. We all have something to re-examine, don't we? A relationship. Perhaps a calling from God. Perhaps an outlook on things. Something. This season is a time of new beginnings and change and maybe a new direction. Maybe a job, a decision, a bold but scary choice. This season is a time for renewal. Perhaps a phone call, a forgiveness, a reconciliation. Perhaps learning something, perhaps healing something, perhaps growing in a different way. This season is a time for a new lease on life for all of us, just like the disciples experienced a new lease on their lives with that empty tomb. We all have something, don't we? Something in our hearts calling us to make a change, to take some action, to re-examine who and where we are. Is Jesus calling us in some way? We all have something. This is the time to re-examine that something. This is the time to re-examine ourselves, our lives, our spirits. It is never too late. This is the time to approach Jesus with a sincere heart and an absolute, or as best we can, trust. A time for a new and living way. Let me just switch gears here and leave us all with this closing thought. Do you want to know who holds baseball's major league record for having struck out the most times in their career? You know, I didn't fact check this if this has changed since I wrote this so many years ago. But we're going to roll with it. I know when I first wrote this and delivered this, there were a lot of guesses on who holds Major League Baseball's record for having struck out the most times in their career. Babe Ruth was a very popular one, not him. Who holds the record? That's right. Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson, Mr. October himself, who I alluded to at the start of this message. But no, we don't remember Reggie Jackson for those 2,597 strikeouts. No, we remember him for his epic 3 home runs on just 3 pitches in the 1977 World Series. We do not remember him for his failures. We remember him for his success, Mr. October. So my friends, let's give ourselves the same appropriate courtesy. When we do re-examine ourselves and our lives, let's not dwell on our failures or our mistakes. Let's not do ourselves what history did to St. Thomas by placing unfair judgment or labels upon ourselves. I promise you, Jesus is going to see and love us and meet us where we are, just like he did with Thomas, who in that moment of belief said, "My Lord and my God." So again, let us remember Thomas not for his moment of doubt, but for his moment of belief, for his moments of honesty and courage, for his life's example of devotion. Let us remember that when Jesus says to Thomas, "Blessed are those who believe without having seen," that he's really talking to us, blessing our faith. And let us remember that as we celebrate the joy of this holiday season, as we embrace a new and living way, as we re-examine our hearts and our lives and who and where we might be, that we do so approaching Jesus with a sincere heart and an absolute, or as best we can, trust. And that we walk by faith, not by sight. Thanks be to God. Amen. So again, my friends, I want to thank you all for stopping by and checking out the channel, checking out this video. I thank you if you stuck with the whole thing. I hope you found some fruit in it. I hope it helps you on your journey. This week, because it was Thanksgiving, moved doing this video and dropping this video on a Sunday rather than Thursdays. And I do think that going forward, I'm going to do this on Sundays rather than Thursdays. Sunday does seem to be an appropriate day, a day where people are looking to embrace some spiritual sustenance, so that's what I'm going to do going forward. Again, if you want to share this channel or this video with anyone that you think might benefit from it, I would appreciate it. I know they would appreciate it. And lastly, I wish you well on your journey. I wish you well during this season. I wish you well through every day. My love, my peace to you. And go in peace. God bless you all. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.